Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And my name is Amanda, also known as Dramatic Mandy.
And today is Monday, October 22nd, 2018. This is episode 318. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more episode. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's quick episode, and you'll come back in the future, and maybe check out what past episodes we have out there. So, a dog made it up the stairs. All of you who have been saying, come here, who have been saying that they miss seeing the dogs, they're not allowed upstairs.
Come here.
But somebody got really jealous and had
He
to
misses his mom.
come upstairs. You are not his mom.
Ernie!
Anyway, so, you know, always excitement here on the
Come
podcast.
Here. Mr. Handsome. Mr. Handsome.
So this is Ernest.
Cover your privates, mister.
And he's like a Yorkie. We have a Karen Terrier as well, but he doesn't do well with the stairs. He can get up them, but going down. And this one, we have very steep stairs, and he has taken a tumble once or twice.
He is so proud of himself.
He's like, yeah, I'm up here. What you gonna do about it? He'll eventually just take a nap. He'll fall asleep somewhere. Anyway, back to the show. So let's go into what's been going on for us in the past 2 weeks. As we said last episode, we weren't sure if we were going to record due to my very, very busy traveling schedule, but I am home today and I am home tomorrow, and I fit in recording this afternoon or this evening with Amanda after we both had a full work day. So we're here to show you what little progress we have made in the past 2 weeks, but also to talk about my recent trips that I've taken. So past 2 weeks have been a lot of prepping for Indyentangled, which we just did this past weekend, as well as SAF, which is in North Carolina this weekend, and then Stitches SoCal, which is the following weekend. So between that and wholesale orders and, boy, just everything under the sun, we've been nonstop dyeing, and she's been nonstop rescanning and taking pictures and everything under the sun to help us out. And watching the dogs, which, you know, that doesn't bother her so much. So, I haven't been going to knit nights a whole lot because I've been so busy. I can't think if we've done really anything other than travel. So, the last time we recorded, after that, Mandy and I went to Ashland, Ohio, right? And we've ended at the Autumn Fiber Festival, which was held there. It was a one-day show on Saturday. And it was a pretty good show, and thank you to everyone who came out and said hi. I know Amanda got a little shy when people said they saw her on the podcast. She was...
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You were like, oh.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't.
Anyway. But quite a few of you said you enjoyed the podcast, so thank you so much for coming out and visiting our booth there at the Autumn Fiber Festival. We're not sure if we're going to make it back next year or not. We have to wait and see how other shows line up and the travel schedule and everything. But, you know, if we go, you'll know about it here on the podcast as well as on our website. So, and you can always sign up for our newsletter. So that was a good show. It was a, you know, quick in and out, and I did a lot of driving. You did a lot of staring out the window because you get car sick if you knit. So
Can't knit or read or focus on anything. I have to look out the window.
I need to teach this girl to drive the van so that she can do all the driving and I can do all the knitting. I think that's a good plan, don't you? I think so.
I need lots of practice.
Well, we can make that happen this winter in the ice and snow. Anyway, so then we got back on Sunday and we worked, and then Andy and I left on Wednesday evening, and we headed up to northern Indiana to visit his mom, and we stayed the night there, so we did about 4 hours of our 15-hour trip, and we stayed at his mom's new home. She moved recently. That's why Mandy went with me to Ohio, is because the days prior to that, Andy was helping his mom move into her new home. So we stayed in her new home. I think it'll be a really good adjustment for her once she gets past those growing pains of, you know, moving and everything. And then we left really early in the morning on Thursday, and we drove 11 hours, but you know, with stopping and eating and everything, it was like 12 and a half hours. And we rolled into Saugerties, New York, and they held Indyentangled at the Performing Arts Factory there in Saugerties. And so we rolled in and we pretty much got our grid walls set up, and that was it on Friday night, which was good, or Thursday night, which was good because we were not planning on getting anything done on Thursday, so we thought we were going straight to the hotel, which we stayed at a Hojo, which is a Howard Johnson, that was about 3 minutes away from the event, so that was good. Pretty near, which is always nice when we don't have to drive like 15, 20, 30 minutes away. And then we got up super early on Friday, and we set up from about 8 till noon. We had some issues with lighting where our booth was located, and the event center thought that certain lights were going to turn on, and then they came to find out that they didn't. So Andy had to run out about an hour before the show started to buy some clamp lights to try to make the best of the situation, which we did. And yeah, from what I heard from everyone who attended this year compared to last year, Indyentangled was much better ran than last year. They did 4 different time slots, and people had 2 hours to shop, except the last hour had only an hour. Tickets were varying prices. They ran like clockwork. They had to shuttle people from a larger parking lot. And so I think things went really well. People said they could shop, which was a more enjoyable experience. And believe it or not, I got nothing in Indyentangled. I was tempted, but I said, no, I didn't really need any more yarn. I forgot to bring it over here, but Andy went and bought me a little wooden tag for my Rhinebeck sweater from Katrinkles, and it's about yay big, and it has a little sweater logo, and it says 2018 Rhinebeck sweater that I'm going to put right at the ribbing at the bottom of my Rhinebeck sweater. Once I wash it again, since I've worn it. I wore it for 2 days straight. And so, yeah, so Indyentangle was a lot of fun. I did not sit down from about 8 in the morning till almost 10 o'clock at night. My feet definitely and ankles felt that, and my back. We tore down and then went to sleep, and then I slept in an even hour later, and we rolled into Rhinebeck at about 10 instead of 9. But that was fine. Got in pretty easily. And, yeah, Rhinebeck was crazy. I mean, people say there's a lot of people there, but there are a lot of people there. And Andy has vowed he will never go back on a Saturday. And I don't know if I disagree with him. I think if we have more time, we will definitely go back on Sunday. Now, if I have a group of particular friends who are with me, maybe I would go on Saturday. But it's so crowded, you can barely shop. You can barely get through the aisles. It's like Black Friday all day in about 14 different barns. So it was enjoyable to see everything, and we did end up in all of the barns. We were worried. I did a lot of just walking up and down the aisles. I didn't really stop at a whole lot. There were a few vendors that I really wanted to get to take a look at, and I did make some purchases at Rhinebeck. Andy bought our third booth in the second barn we were in. I was going to bring it up, but I didn't want to take it off the wall. He's already hung a piece of art that he bought, which is paper cut, and it's really, really cool, and it caught his eye. He's a sucker for some art. He loves original artwork, and so he made that purchase and got to carry that around all day. And we got through about half the barns, and then we did the podcaster meetup, which was a lot of fun, and I got to take a picture of the Ravelry photo meetup, and we did the podcaster meetup for a little bit, got to meet a lot of you, thank you, and then we went back and we checked out all the other barns, and I got to see some of the vendors I was looking for, and we had some Euro fries. I did not get apple cider donuts because I was not waiting in that line, and there was like a quick downpour going on, and I wasn't doing that, so maybe next time. But it was beautiful, and we stuck around till 3:30, 4 o'clock because I was waiting on a particular yarn shipment to come in from one of the vendors, as you'll see. And then we headed out, and as we were heading out, I saw Jess, who is one of the owners of Ravelry. She was while I was waiting for my yarn order to come in at this particular vendor, she was checking out, and I wanted to take a picture with her because I was like, oh, it's one of the owners or founders of Ravelry. But then she was like finishing her order, and she turned me and walked the other way. And I was like, you know what? This wasn't meant to be. There was a lot of people I wanted to get pictures with this weekend that I did not. And so then Andy and I are walking out, And she had noticed I was waiting for my yarn, and as we were walking through the parking lot and everybody's kind of filing out of the rows, I hear, "Did you finally get your yarn?" And I look, and it's Jess of Ravelry yelling at me out her driver's side window, driving past me like slowly because she's stuck in traffic. And she was like, "I wanted to tell him, get the man his yarn." And I said, "Can I take a picture with you?" So I posted that to Instagram and Facebook, and I thought that was really cool. I said, "I wanted to say hi earlier," and I said, "I'm one of your yarnies," and so that was cool. That kind of made a nice ending to the day, and we drove about just over 2 hours and stopped and had dinner because there was rain in the mountains, and we did not make it much farther than that. We were hoping to make it a little bit farther, but then we did about 12 hours yesterday, and now we're home. So I'm done yapping about Rhinebeck. I'm sure you're going to hear everybody's, you look like you smell something stanky. I'm looking at her, and she's like... But I had a really good time. There were times I was nervous. There were times that I, got to be my typical analyzing self. But overall, I had a really good time. And, hopefully I can get this one to come with me at some point sometime. But she doesn't think knitting events are her thing. So what have you been up to the last 2 weeks?
Nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting?
I was with you last weekend. See, I don't consider the weeks to be anything. They just escape me.
Because you work and then you go home and you watch TV and you read.
Yeah.
You're waiting to go see a new movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, so Halloween came out on technically Thursday night. And I'm kind of obsessed with all of them, but especially the original. I have a weird connection with Michael Myers. I don't want to explain it. Anyway, yeah, I've been wanting to see that, but I don't want to be stuck in a movie theater with 100 other people chomping on their popcorn and ruining my experience. So, I don't know. I was thinking about going during the week or something.
I told her I'd go with her tomorrow night, but at our local one, and she doesn't like our local theater, but it would be less crowded. And you don't have to sit by me because I'm probably going to buy popcorn.
Well, I'll go, but I'll probably go again, like, in Bloomington sometime by myself. Or I know Mom wants to go see it. And I know it's probably not going to be that great because, let's be honest, none of them are that great. But it's Michael Myers, so it's great to me. So yeah, I am excited about that. So it's record-breaking. It's the I think biggest horror movie opening. And biggest horror movie opening with a female lead. And biggest with a female lead over 50. And yeah. If you do follow me on Instagram, you already saw I posted a tribute to Michael Myers. Anyway, besides that, I haven't even seen it yet. I didn't do anything.
But you're going out this weekend, so that'll be fun.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm going to Six Flags. It's my favorite place on earth because I've never been to Disneyland. You know how people say that's their favorite place on earth or whatever. Six Flags is my favorite place on earth. I love movies, music, Michael Myers, and roller coasters. So, and animals. Yeah.
So, that'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, I decorated. Fine.
You did. We came home last night and rolled up to our house and we're like, somebody decorated our house with like all Halloween. And it's amazing.
Well, I haven't been... So I knew that I was going to be here Halloween because they're not going to be here. And I haven't been able to, like, celebrate in the way of handing out, like, candy to kids in quite a few years. Because I've been away at college. And that was just, Halloween at college is just going out and partying. And then in the apartment where we're at, you don't really get any kids. And I know you probably don't really get any kids here, but as long as I get a few. And it just made me happy to be able to decorate a house.
You get a few, and the one thing that I realized too is start earlier than you think.
Yeah.
A lot of them start at like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I remember last year I was driving to the post office to do a last-minute post office run before they close.
They go through a
And
circle.
I saw people get starting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they, like, grouped up for something on this town square.
I'm pretty sure the town square, they can go around and get candy from all the businesses or something, because I've seen it a couple times where they're walking around there. But yeah, I got so excited. I bought full-size candy bars, so maybe they'll get the word out that I have them, although I only have like, I think 16 or 18 or something, but so that
I told her, I said, treat the house like it's yours for Halloween, because it is, because we're not going to be there, so she's going to dress up the dogs, even though we got them costumes last year, but it's alright. I'm not going to be here to enjoy it. One's going to be a pumpkin, and one's going to be a something else. What did we get? I don't remember.
I need to find those.
They're in the buffet.
Well, see, I have a plan for Corny, but not for Ernie. Ernie's just so handsome, he can be himself. He's licking the carpet right
He's
now.
so weird. Ernest.
He likes to lick things, that's his...
At least it's not walls. I heard if dogs lick walls, then you have to be really worried, especially, you know, the lead paint and stuff. Speaking of dogs, did you want to say anything or no?
Oh, sure. Our mom's dog passed away Friday, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I had a dog for a number of years that got me through high school and my first year of college, and she was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. So much so I got her tattooed on me. But when we had to put her down, my neighbor, one of my best friends' dad, they were moving to Florida and had 3 dogs, and they were in some gated community. They could only have 2 dogs. So they ended up giving Winnie to our mom, and she's had her, I don't know how many years that's been.
Probably 5 or 6.
It was my sophomore, yeah, like 4 or 5 years. And I mean, she was really old, and it was time, but it's still rough.
Yeah, I stopped by and talked with her today, and I mean, I think all of us were telling her, you know, it's time for the dog. She had really bad arthritis, and I hate to say that, and it was sad, and you know, Mom was not ready. I don't think she wanted. It was more for her sake than the dogs, so it was time, and luckily we're going to be gone for 2 weeks, so our dogs are going to be over there for a lot. So Mom already knows that's going to help her with the grieving process and help her kind of get over that hurdle. But she's like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to last before I get another one.
She loves Cornelius and wants to steal him, whereas Ernest, that's my babe. So
anyway, all right, now that we've been talking for this whole amount of time, let's get to what little knitting we have. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Ugh.
I passed it on to you.
So what's taking a bow this episode? What have we finished? I was hoping to finish something, but I didn't bring all the needles that I needed to finish, so I have nothing finished from our trip. Do you have anything?
Nada. Even when we went to Ohio, I didn't even touch my stuff. Yeah.
True story.
Been bad.
All right. So what's performing? First for me is the Knitting at the Library Cowl Part 2, which is designed by Corey Eichelberger. I'm not sure if this has been released yet. I don't think it has. And I actually did make some progress on this. I'm on the last section before the seed stitch ribbing. And this uses mini skeins. It uses one of our Showstopper Gradient mini skein packs, our color ensembles in the Brocade Dresses and Fancy Jewels colorway. Really trying not to sneeze right now. And so you can see here, this is the lace version. Her original one, part 1, was done with just textured stitches. And so you do a little bit of seed stitch, and then there's different lace sections, and I'm on the last one here, and then eventually I will bring in the first color again for seed stitch. And then it'll block out and it won't look so like a hot mess. But, and this is being knit on a size 4 US 3.5 millimeter needles. Alright, so that's that. And yeah, he is just going to town on that carpet, isn't he? I don't know what's over there that's so entertaining. Next up, I did not work on my Monster Mash socks. Those are my sock blank socks that I work on at shows because I assumed that Indyentangled would be so busy that I would not really have time to knit, which was pretty much true. And I really didn't do any knitting at Rhinebeck. I brought my boomerang, but I was walking around and I didn't knit. So I did some knitting in the car, but that was about it. Alright, my 2x2 hat, did I cast on? I think I cast on last time. This is using my leftovers of Plucky Knitter Halo Worsted, which is their 100% cashmere worsted weight, in the Pure Michigan and Be Steel My Heart colorway. And I worked on this quite a bit, and I got to where I need to decrease yesterday, and then I stopped because I did not have size 6 DPNs. This is knit on a size 6 4mm needle, and it looks really long because it's going to be a rolled brimmed watch cap. And,
be super warm.
yeah. So I need to get my 6 DPNs out, and then I'm gonna be like in love with this hat right now. I mean, feel how soft that is.
Yeah, and you have no hair, so you could appreciate it more.
Wow. I'm looking super fly with my big beard and my Watchman cap.
Keep
But anyway. 2x2 is a free pattern on Ravelry by Angie. So, that should be done next time, because if it isn't, well, then we got issues. My Summer Night Boomerang, I'm using Regia Design Line by Arnie and Carlos in the Summer Nights colorway. Seriously, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Oh, good. At least it wasn't... Well, you know when you sneeze. Okay, here it is. Sorry.
The flies attacking you.
I did make a little bit of progress on this. And we're starting to see where that self-striping patterning sock is no longer really working. So it was really cool here.
Lord, I think you're farther than me.
And then you can see here it starts to get a little wonky, which I knew was going to happen. But it might be cool just to make this kind of like an accent piece when you fold it over to really let this part shine. Excuse me. So I'm knitting that on a size 6, which is a 4mm needle. And this is how much I have left of the first of the 50 grams, and then I have the second ball to add in. So there's that. That's my mindless knitting. That's what I brought to work on while walking around at Rhinebeck, but I did not do so. I'm sorry, y'all. I should just stop, but... Okay. And is that it?
I don't know what's
Yeah.
You always have like 100.
I think that's it. That's all that I really worked on. So, that's it for me.
Well, I forgot my boomerang, but it still looks the same.
She didn't work on it.
No, I did work on it. But I mean, it's just the same colors, and it's just getting a little bit bigger.
You gotta start putting progress markers in your stuff. Then you could be like, man, I really need to work on this, because look how much I've only made like 1 row of progress.
Yeah, I haven't done much recently.
I just gave you a couple of stitch markers from...
I have a bunch of stitch markers.
You could put an interlocking one, see that...
You know what? I have a progress thing on my boomerang, but I just move it up randomly. I don't even... I'm just like, this is cute. I'll just put it on as like an accent.
It's supposed to be knitting jewelry. That's what they say. Okay, Ernest is like...
There's a fly like attacking him, so...
Yeah, he's like... What?
But I've worked a little bit on my color bias wrap by... I don't remember. Crap.
It's over here.
Suzanne or something?
Suzanne Shaw.
There we go.
Using...
Oh, Classic Elite Yarns, Mountaintop Chalet, in like natural colors.
Do you know what size needle?
13, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know what that is in a millimeter.
I don't know.
Making some progress.
Yeah, getting there. I just put on the second to last. I only did 2 rows of the second to last color, so getting there.
Cool.
And then I'm gonna wear it every day of my life. So yeah, that's all I've been with.
So what's in rehearsal for me? I did bring something to start in case I finished that hat and then I never got around to it. I'm going to knit a pair of Socks on a Plane by Laura Linneman. She's one of the knit girls. But I'm not really following her design at all because it's toe up and I'm going to do it top down and do my own thing. But it has a cable running down one side of one sock and the other side of the other sock. So I'm going to mimic that. I'm just going to do it top down. And I used my random number generator on my stash because, you know, that's what I like to do. And it picked for me this yarn that I got from Ethereal Fibers, who is Kelly. And this is her Nebula sock, which is an 80-10-10 Superwash Merino Cashmere Nylon. This is from her Autocorrect series. So do you remember, like, there was this website that when they first started to do like autocorrect on texting and how it would mess it up, and you can go to this website and read all these like messed up autocorrects. We all still have that happen today, right? Like you go to type something and it chooses something else for you. Well, this one is called the Natural History Nudie Run colorway. And there's her tag. And I think I bought this online years ago. And this is what it looks like. So it's a merino cashmere nylon. And then I chose some Showstopper Intermission, I believe in the Sandcastle colorway that I had already used. And I had some left over for the cuff, heel, and toe. So that's what they will look like. And they'll have a cable, so it'd be a pattern sock for me, which is a little different.
Are you supposed to knit them on a plane?
Well, you can. It's supposed to be mindless enough that you can. But it's an old takeoff of Snakes on a Plane.
Well, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I knew that, but okay.
But yeah, it's supposed to be like a easy enough pattern that it's not just mindless, but you can do it, I think. Do you have anything coming up that you're going to work on in rehearsal?
No.
Okay. Moving into behind the scenes, I don't have any spinning to show you. I'm still working on the loop bump, but I've been gone and I don't travel with my spinning. So I spun for about 15 minutes this morning. I still probably have 2 of the 6 ounces. I did see the loop booth. I did not go into it at Rhinebeck, but she was there and I was like, you know what? I'm already working on one of your bumps. I don't need any more. So, yeah. In the scene shop, our other crafting, I'm still working on the cross stitch, but I didn't get really much of anything done, so it doesn't look any different at all. I'm working on the dimensions in the Moment kit, and I started a new scarf that I'm weaving, but again, it's attached to the loom, which is on a stand, so you're really only going to see finished objects from me in terms of weaving, but I am using some Lion Brand Mandala as the warp. So it's a color changing yarn that is going sideways, and then I'm just using some, what is the other one? Red Heart Super Saver White for the weft. So we'll see. I just barely got that started since last time. So that's all for me in the terms of other crafting.
I'm still working on my Artiste Colorful Cow, but I don't have it because it looks the same. So, yeah.
I'm gonna be like, you take an episode off next time. Get some work done. How much work you got done? Alright, so let's move into In the Spotlight. What are we watching and reading? Because we've both been making some progress there. Andy and I are still watching American Horror Story Apocalypse. We have an episode to catch up, hopefully, on tonight. We're still watching The Good Place Season 2. We're almost done with Season 2. I think we have 1 or 2 more episodes. And we're enjoying Mindhunter. We're over halfway through that, which is a Netflix original series. Really enjoying that series as well. I did finish listening to a book while on our travels. I would listen to True Crime Addict by James Renner, and it does have a subtitle to it. But basically, it is read by James Renner. I listened to it, and it's his account of he's following a cold case on Maura Murray, who disappeared in New Hampshire, I believe. She pretty much had some issues going into college and was gonna leave college and got in a car accident in the wintertime, and somebody saw her on the side of the road, and she's like, no, don't call the cops. And he lived right by the crash, and he told his wife to go ahead and call somebody, and they showed up 7 minutes later and she had disappeared. And so it kind of follows and delves into that, and James tries to give his ideas on what he thinks might happen. There is no definitive closure, I will tell you that. But it also goes into some of his background and kind of why he has gotten kind of obsessed with true crime, and some of his family dealings, and that might play into why he feels that he needs to search for these missing people like he has done in the past. So he's written a couple other books. I got it on an Audible deal, so I gave it 4 stars out of 5 and enjoyed it. And yeah, so that was True Crime Addict by James Renner. I would say go ahead and give it a listen. Anyway, here's your notes.
Oh, me.
Yep.
What am I watching? Well, I'm watching a ton of shows. Let's see. There's 911. There's Grey's Anatomy. There's other things. I don't remember. Because I did not write them down. Well, I just watched a movie that was amazing. Now, it won't be for everyone, that's for sure. It is, it's called Revenge, so it's about revenge.
Sorry. Process of having a beard. I was like, there's something in my mouth.
There's like little fibers flying around.
Yeah, it wasn't a fiber. I was like, there is a beard here stuck in between my front teeth. Don't worry, got it out.
Dental floss.
Alright.
But anyway. Oh man. Anyway, it's called Revenge. It's not a horror movie, but it's gory. So there's a girl, she's with her boyfriend who also happens to be married. They go off, he's rich, and they go off to this house in the middle of a desert, and his friends come, and they're like hunting buddies, but they're not nice men. Anyway, one of the guys ends up raping her, and then instead of, like, in other words, covering it up, her boyfriend pushes her off a cliff, and she gets impaled by a tree, but survives, and so she gets revenge on them. Like, they're running through the desert. It sounds weird, but it's really cool if you're into, you have to be into that sort of thing, I guess. I really, really enjoyed it. The graphics and stuff are intense.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around being impaled by a tree, but yet still surviving and
but I think it's even a movie that like you would enjoy. Like, it's
I'd probably enjoy it, but I'm just
the acting is pretty good. I mean, I've never heard of these people before, but the acting is really good, and then it looks so realistic. I don't get like queasy and stuff around blood and gore and all of that, but there's a scene where,
preface, if she's gonna go into detail, I would say maybe don't go. Yeah,
I won't get too gross, but there's just a scene where this girl's really smart, by the way. This is what I loved, I think, so much about it was this female lead who was smart, and like she didn't do anything stupid. It wasn't any of those cliches where, oh, I fell down when I was running, like that sort of thing. There was
Well,
nothing
she
like
fell
that.
off of a cliff.
She was pushed off of a cliff. Thank you very much. But so she's running away from this guy that's shooting at her, and she has a flashlight, and she bangs it against a rock because he's running after her, and he only has one shoe on. I won't tell you all the details of why. And so he doesn't notice, but like she breaks it, so there's glass on the ground, and he steps on the glass, and there's this whole scene of him taking the glass out of his foot, and whew, I had to look away, and I've never had to look away when I'm watching something. But anyway, it's a really good movie. You should check it out.
Is it on Netflix?
I watched it on Shudder, and I'm not sure if it's a Shudder exclusive or not, but I have heard about it before, so you might be able to see it somewhere else. That's all I've really been watching. The reason I haven't been doing a lot of crafts is because I have really been getting into the Black Dahlia Avenger, the book that I'm reading. It's awesome. I'm halfway through it. Let's just say this guy has convinced me that his father is a serial killer. But it's really great.
It's really great that he's a serial killer.
No, the book is really great.
Well, that's good.
But, yeah.
Awesome. So let's move into stash enhancement. Like I said, I was really good at Indyentangle. Showed restraint. But then at Rhinebeck, nothing was really jumping at me, and I didn't think I really wanted any yarn. And I told Andy, I said, really the only thing I would get is if I saw a kit, because you know me and kits, for a male sweater, which no one does, right? So I was like, it's probably not going to happen. And as we're walking through, I was really I saw one thing of yarn that I liked, and they had a progressive discount for how many skeins you bought, and I marked it down. But then I was walking through, and I know I wanted to look, you know, the rustic yarns are all the rage, and the non-superwash, which, yes, Sandy and I are still in the process of vetting, and in the process, I mean, it's still waiting for us to experiment with our non-superwash. But people are getting into those rustic wools, those toothy wools that are non-superwash that aren't going to grow. And so I knew two vendors I really wanted to check out were Bartlett Yarns and Harrisville Designs. The Bartlett Yarns booth was not very well set up in terms of shopping and flow, and due to that, I got stuck in there, and one, I didn't care for the feel of their yarns, for their price point, and two, it was a madhouse, and I just needed to get out because I was starting to actually get claustrophobic in their booth. So then I was walking around, and I saw Harrisville Designs, and their booth is absolutely stunning, and I had heard of their booth set up before. They don't have yarn out for you to actually pull your quantity and then go check out. They have display racks of like their color palette for a certain line. So say like their Watershed line is one of their lines, and they carry 12 colors in that line of yarn. They have them laid out on a rack or in a display case. And what you do is you actually have an order form with all their bases, and you put down, I want this colorway and this many skeins, and they have like a curtained off part of their booth, and one of the people actually goes back there and pulls your order, and if they don't have enough, they will take it and they will ship it to you for free. Now, I went through and I looked at their pattern rack. They had 2 pattern racks in their booth, and they had 3 guys patterns that I really liked. They had a 4th one, but I was like, I could live without it. And so then I was talking with Andy, and I was like, well, these were designed out of their yarns. Maybe I can find some affordable yarns and da-da-da-da-da. And I found one I really liked that I wanted to be my Rhinebeck sweater for next year. And I went and I looked at the yarn that they designed it in, and it was designed out of like 50-gram balls that were 11 something per 50-gram balls, and I needed like 22 to 25 skeins. And I was like, no. Sorry, no. Maybe hand-dyed on my own, but no. But then I realized, you know, they had comparable other worsted weight yarns that were the same price point for 100 grams. So I was like, okay, that's doable. But then I didn't realize that right away. So then I went with another pattern, and I was like, ooh, I want this. And so we shopped together, and we picked out a color for it. And I was like, can I get 2 sweaters worth? So I did. I walked away with 2 sweaters worth of Harrisville designs. Let me show you the patterns first that I got in their booth. The one that I did not get yarn for is the Tolman cardigan, and this is designed by Ron Strong. So I figured that's a pretty classic cardigan shape that I liked. And they had all these knit up in their booth, which was really cool. And then the other one that I liked, this is a lighter weight. This is the Axton Henley, which is a sport weight. The other one was a worsted. And so I actually think I'm going to ball up the yarn I bought for this, and I'm going to cast this on for our big trip coming up here the next 2 weeks, because while I can work on small stuff, I think I really need like a meaty project to like carry me through the 2 weeks, you know what I mean? Something that I can see progress. But this is the design that I really fell in love with, that I want to wear to Rhinebeck, hopefully next year, if we get to go. And this is the Newcastle cardigan, and it is designed by Todd Gockin. And you cannot see here, but it has kind of like a honeycomb cable texture going with it. Can you see? It's really dark, so it's hard to see.
Wait, you kind of had it.
I was like, I can't see.
Oh, no.
Maybe this
There
back.
we go.
In the back, I think you can see it on the shoulder. There you go. Can you see that there? It's on the shoulder. But then, of course, it has the big shawl collar, which I kind of fell in love with this year's Rhinebeck sweater, the brownstone that I knit by Jared Flood. And so this is the one that called for 22 skeins of their watershed worsted weight, which is a 50-gram ball. And yeah, it called for 22 skeins for my size, which is, I'm going to do the 50-inch chest. And I was like, yeah, no. But, so then I found this, which they did not have, and I got 11 skeins, but they did not have it in the booth, but they said, hey, we ran to our mill, and it's on its way back to us, because I guess they were just constantly, they were from New Hampshire, and I guess they were just driving back to the mill and picking up yarn because they were selling so much. And they were bringing vans back. And they said they're on their way back, and it'll be about an hour, 45 minutes. So I said I'd wait, because I didn't want to wait to have it shipped to me, even though because I wouldn't get it till after I got back from Stitches. So I was like, I'll come back in an hour. And then we got there, and they're like, oh, it's here, but we have to go get it. So they had to traipse all the way out to their van and then walk through the whole festival holding this huge, they brought in like a big tote bag, plastic bag of yarn, 2 people carrying it. So that took like 20 minutes for them to go get it and come back, because they didn't just bring it in with them. But that's okay. So this is their Highland worsted, which is a more affordable version, which is 100% pure virgin wool. It is not superwash at all. It's 200 yards, and this is in the colorway Ebony. And what I liked is it is a dark black, but it has almost that kind of gray, I don't know what, it's not
undertone?
Tweed, but yeah, like kind of a gray marl to it. So I'm super excited about this. Because it is not superwash soft, but
I touched it, I took a picture of it.
oh yeah, I asked her to take a picture for my stash. But it's not bad. I don't think it's, I mean, it's that toothy yarn. But compared to some of the, I was trying to feel some other non-superwash, because I feel like there's a lot more sheep-specific yarns at Rhinebeck, which is really cool and why a lot of people go, but some of it was like really crunchy or really like in the grease, and I was just like, not for me. But I liked this. So I got 11 skeins of this for that Newcastle cardigan. But what I picked up for the Axton is their flywheel, which is their sport weight, and it is, again, the pure virgin wool. These are 50-gram hanks, but I only needed 11 of these for that, because that needs a lot more yarn, because it is cabled and it's big shawl collar and all that stuff. But I picked up 11 skeins in the colorway Farwell, which is this beautiful red with almost like blue-black undertones to it. It is very much like a brick red. Can you see it there? So I'm going to knit that Henley out of this color. I'm super excited. So I think either myself or Mandy are going to have a lot of winding party tomorrow.
You.
Oh my gosh, like just standing in line, I mean, the people just sweaters after sweaters after sweaters after sweater lots of their yarn. But I'm glad to have tried them and kind of know, and if I want to do, you know, I should do more out of my yarn. I do plan on knitting another sweater, you know, for if we do Indyentangle next year out of our yarn. But so anyway, that was Harrisville Designs. Great to meet them. They were really cool. They had a new yarn line premiere there called Nightshades that everybody was raving about, which was a black yarn that was marled with a specific color. So the different names had, you know, different things, like Firestarter had red with it and stuff. But so that was that. And then the other vendor I wanted to check out was Oh Wool. I've never seen their stuff in person, and they were literally the last barn we went through, the last booth that I found. And I was going through, and they had worsted and fingering and maybe something else, but it was kind of crowded. And I looked at one of their samples, and I saw the name Jen Lucas, who we got to see at Indyentangled. She designs with our yarn quite often, and she's a very talented designer, and you should definitely check her out, Jen Lucas, on Instagram and Ravelry. And they had a wrap, you know me and wraps, designed by her called Ponderosa. And I was like, all right, it's my girl Jen. I'm going to get yarn for this. And I went to get the original yarns that they used, which was like a dusty rose mauve with this kind of pewter gray and mustard yellow. And I decided to kind of swap it out a little bit and make it a less feminine, but still they're muted tones. So the main color, it called for 4 skeins, 2 of a main color, and I picked up the colorway Barn Owl, which is a really, really subtle gray. And then it called for 1 skein of 2 contrasts, and I got Slate and Feldspar. So this is going to be the wrap. I know. It's kind of amazing. Why do you always have to look at me like that? You could be happy rather than judge you all the time.
Because when I look this way, I just see a wall of yarn.
You could start helping me knit it. Let that be the screen capture for YouTube, please. All right, so that was all that I got at Rhinebeck. But we still spent a decent amount of money between that and the artwork. It was a good time though. So hopefully we'll be back next year. We'll have to see how things play out, but I'm definitely made a knitter's dream come true to, you know, make it to the pilgrimage to Rhinebeck, and hopefully we can make it back, and even if it's not with Indyentangled, hopefully I can go completely guilt-free, work-free, and go with some friends and do the whole rent-a-house thing and all that stuff. But we shall see what the future holds. Do you have any stash enhancement?
No.
Okay. She says it like that's crazy. All right, our giveaway this episode is for a project bag that was donated by Carolyn of Anomalous Mind on Etsy. Bring it over so people can see the whole thing. There we go. She donated this to me via her sister at the Northern Michigan Lamb and Wool Festival. She is from Michigan, so it's got that clear kind of, or not clear, but white cream lining. And it's got these blues and golds with little, I don't know, bunnies and birds and flowers. It's really cute. So this is this project bag, again, was generously donated by Carolyn of Anomalous Mind on Etsy. And to enter for this, yeah, it's a nice, it's not really interface, so it can be squished into bags and other bags, bigger bags. To enter for this project bag, all you have to do is be a member of the Dramatic Knits video podcast group on Ravelry, and there will be a thread up, and you need to enter by telling me what it. Go to Caroline's shop, which will be linked in the thread, and the show notes. And let us know which item in her shop is your favorite. And that'll get you an entry for this bag. And then we will close the thread and randomly draw a winner next time we record in about 2 weeks. A little over 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks. More likely, let's just say it's going to be 3 weeks. And we will pull for a winner for that. And thank you, Carolyn, for donating this. It's a nice size, and we always very much appreciate anybody who donates to the podcast. So, all right. Last episode, we announced a giveaway from another generous donator, and that is So Happy Jane, Heather. And she donated this skein to us when we were vending at the Knit for Fun retreat. And this is a skein of her... What type of yarn? What's the base name?
Oh, bouncy fingering.
And what's the colorway?
Agate?
Agate?
Oh.
I'm going to say agate.
I wonder.
She got all fancy on that. Agate?
Agate Beach.
Which is beautiful. And I think a lot of people really liked this. So I asked you to go to her shop and tell me what was your favorite item. The winner of this was number 36, Colette Knits, and that's Colette from Toronto, Canada. And she said, I really like the kits. A kit is the perfect thing for someone who is so indecisive about their stash. I like the Brunswick tea kit. I'm Sassy Ballerina colorway for the name and the colors. So, you didn't win a kit, Colette, but you do win the skein of Agate Beach on the bouncy fingering. So, Colette, if you would please email me, Dramatic Knits, on Ravelry. Or actually, should I have them email you on Ravelry? Do you check your Ravelry?
I don't go on there.
Email me, Dramatic Knits, on Ravelry with your first and last name, your complete mailing address, especially since you're international, and your email address so I can send you tracking when it ships out. Now, that being said, unless Amanda catches that email, she can ship it out to you. She knows how to do that. But unless she catches it, it'll have to wait until we're back from California in about 3 weeks to ship out to you. So,
I'll try to remember.
because it comes up under my Mr. Dramatic, like my Ravelry emails. So, but I can text you or whatever. So, congratulations, Colette, and thank you everyone for entering. That'll go downstairs. All right, I want to remind you about our Operation Chemo Hat Knit Along, Hat Drive Knit Along that we're currently doing. I know we just announced it last episode, and it's going to be closing here on the 15th of November. We have over 25 hats currently. I think we're into the 30s. Due to the late nature of getting started and me but not podcasting every week anymore, I don't see us hitting the numbers that we hit last year, but I do want us to get as many hats as we can. So any hat that you have laying around that's been knit or any kind of head covering, you can post a picture to our Hat Drive Knit Along thread. It doesn't have to be knit. It could be crocheted, sewn, woven, whatever. Each hat gets you an entry into the drawing. You do need to mail out hats by November 15th. All the information is located in the thread, including the shipping address, so that they can have it by the 1st of December for their dissemination date so that they package all these. For every 25 entries, we will add an additional prize. So we start off with 1. We're already up to 2 prizes to be given out. So if we hit 51 or more, we'll bump up to 3 prizes, and so on and so forth. What else? Each hat is a separate entry, can be made whatever, and it does not need to be washable wool. They do ask that you put it each in a Ziploc bag with a little note to the participant telling them how to care for it. It is not a requirement. They will still take your hat because Lord knows, I did that the first year, and then, I didn't last year. So, that being said, let's move into our October 2018 Race to the Finished Object contest. That is currently going on. Anything you finish this month, post it into that thread. Each post gets you, each finished object put as a separate post, it gets you an entry. We will do a physical prize as well as a pattern from our featured designer, who is Corrado Lark, who I got to see and catch up with at Indyentangle this past Friday. So he's super excited. He's got a new pattern. He's got several new patterns that have been coming out, but he showed me the scarf he's been working on since the spring out of our monologue base, and that should be coming out here later this fall. So we're super excited for that. Do you have anything to add before we go into center stage?
Nope.
All right, moving right along, center stage. Let's talk about the new colorway for November, because I've been trying to make sure I'm ahead of the game since we're going to be gone for so long. And we will not see you again until till after this closes. So November 1st, Mandy is going to put up pre-orders for this new colorway, and they will be up through the 8th. You can order as much as you want on any one of our bases. And the colorway this month is Mandy's token phrase this past month, which is "Geez, Louise." And this is what it looks like. So it is kind of a subtle speckled chartreuse colorway. And that's the Knit Swatch worsted flat, and here it is on our Show Stealer base. It looks like it's glowing. It is not like Electric Avenue. There, that's a little bit better. So, and you can check out the website for additional pictures once it's up on the 1st. And if you want to be reminded of that, you can always sign up for our newsletter, which you can do so at the bottom of leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, and in the left-hand sidebar there is a newsletter tab. And every month we send out when the new colorway goes up. Ooh, look at how cool it would be. Nice good
sweater.
It would be a good sweater color. Yeah, so every month they let you know when the new colorway goes up, and then I tell you where we're going to be for the month and new patterns that come out. So Mandy just got to practice with working on that newsletter. So, and I promise not to bombard you with too much other stuff, but I kind of remind you when we're going to events or other things, as well as our knitting retreat. When we get more information out, I will start sending more through that newsletter. Our knitting retreat, Knitting at the Estate, also affectionately known as KATE, Kate, is going to be held next September 2019 from September 19th through the 22nd. You can see all the information we have released at knittingattheestate.com, and we've put up there now the pricing as well as all the dates and our teachers. We are so happy to announce our teachers. You all are hearing it first. Our teachers, we have 2 wonderful teachers that will be joining us at Kate this coming fall 2019. The first is Laura Linneman of the Knit Girls fame. She is going to be doing some knitting workshops, and we don't have classes officially selected yet. What Mandy and I were talking about is we will do a poll in the Knitting at the Estate Ravelry group that we will create. It's not up yet. But we will do a poll of all their classes that they offer, and then we will select the top 3 voted classes from each teacher. So Laura is going to be joining us. We couldn't be happier that she is taking the time off from her very busy teaching schedule. She does not get much time, and she's taking her only days off to come share that time with us at Kate this spring, or this coming fall. So we're excited to have her all the way from Mississippi. And then joining us all the way from Connecticut, we are going to have Gail Zucker, who is a knitting photographer extraordinaire as well as a designer. And she has photographed for so many different designers and books, including Minnesota 52, who Corey and Megan are the designers behind that book. They self-published that book last summer, and they hired Gail to do the photography of that book, which came out stunning. And Corey and Megan are good friends of ours, and we knew that she would do an amazing job, and I've seen her other work, and we really wanted to focus photography classes at Kate due to the grounds, and we wanted people to be able to go out and take pictures and practice firsthand what they're learning in the classroom with Gail. So she's got a lot of wonderful classes to offer, and again, we will do a poll with descriptions so that you can choose if you get accepted. That being said, lottery signups will open up on January 14th, 2019, and they will be open for 2 weeks to put your name in for the lottery. We will have 75 spots, 50 will stay on site, and 25 will be responsible for booking their own housing/hotel. I think that's pretty much it. So upcoming shows this weekend, Andy and I are leaving Wednesday morning bright and early to drive to Asheville, North Carolina. We will be vending at the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival, which is affectionately known as SAF for the first time. It is, what I hear, a great show. we're looking forward to seeing a lot of people that we haven't seen in a little bit. And that is going to be October 26th through 28th. It is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we will be in Barn F, not in the arena, but in Barn F. So check us out there. Come by, say hi. And then we will be heading out Sunday night and driving across the country for 3 straight days to Pasadena, California, where we will be at Stitches SoCal. And we are super excited to be featuring 2 designers in our booth. If you want to know more information about that, make sure you're checking out our Instagram feed as well as sign up for our newsletter. We will be giving you a little bit more background about our 2 featured designers and their new designs that we'll be featuring in our booth at Stitches SoCal. We will have 1 designer on Friday and 1 on Saturday, and they will also be doing demonstrations in the playground at Stitches. So if you're in the Southern California area, I highly recommend you come check out Stitches SoCal. I was looking at their marketplace, the vendor map today, and they've sold out. They've got tons of vendors. I think it's just going to be a really great event, so I can't wait to come back and give you my recap of those 2 shows and our cross-country journey. If you are not following Leading Men Fiber Arts on Instagram or Facebook, I highly recommend you do. I will be posting on our trips, and I know a lot of people like to follow along when we do some of our longer trips. So, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You can always follow the podcast on our Ravelry group, Dramatic Knits, and you can find the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, and dramaticknits.com. As always, we would appreciate a 5-star rating and review. It helps us get the word out about our show. And yeah, thank you for letting me ramble on. She knows I have to talk a lot at the end, and she just... Shima Vanna. All right, we are going to go enjoy some pizza because we ordered some Casey's Pizza, and the dogs have just been fed, and we are going to relax. So I will get this up probably Tuesday, tomorrow morning, and until we see you again in 3 weeks, we hope you
knit something
dramatic.